I've been reading The Graveyard Book by Neil Gaiman, and believe me, this is an amazing book. Now, I'm not one who normally goes around bragging about every book that I read, because you know from watching my other video reviews that I do complain about books sometimes that aren't good. Well, this one is good. This one is better than good. In fact, it's probably one of the best books that I've ever read, if not the best book that I've ever read. And I hate to say that because I've got quite a few good books that I've read before, but this book is absolutely amazing. There is a character called Nobody Owens whose parents were killed when he was a baby. He happens to stumble into a graveyard because their house is quite close to one, and instead of going downhill like the murderer thinks he would, the baby crawls uphill when he escapes the house. Okay, that leads him into the graveyard. Well, Nobody's parents, BOD for short, they ask these two ghosts that they see in the graveyard, Mr. Owens and Mrs. Owens, to raise their child for them, as their spirits are like floating past. I don't want to tell you too much about it, but basically it's the story of this character who has no name really, because the ghosts don't know his name when they get him. They're just like, Nobody. That's a good name for him, right? So BOD is short for Nobody. But it's an amazing book. It tells a story about growing up in a graveyard with a fantastic cast of ghosts and other outer worldly creatures. It is a masterpiece, to say the least. And for those of you worried that it's a humongous book, it's not really. I read this thing in a couple of days max because it's so good you won't want to put it down. Fantastic book, well worth reading, well worth buying. You will want this book. It's not one that you'll want to go to the library and check out. You will want this book because it's definitely something that I'd probably read again. Overall, I would give this book somewhere around a 9 or a 10 out of 10 because it's just there for me. It is amazing, the story's great, everything about this book is a must read. Definitely check out The Graveyard Book by Neil Gaiman.